friends, it's Deanna here, and today we're sewing the wrap skirt by Ellie and Mac, and I haven't done this pattern, so it's exciting because I had kind of put this pattern in the back burner, and then I was looking through Pinterest and at some inspiration. I don't know if you do that. Sometimes I'm scrolling through and looking for inspiration what to do, and I saw this gorgeous skirt, and I'm like, this is the wrap skirt. How have I never made it before? So I got it, and now we're getting ready to make it, and I am excited because it was so cute. It is so cute, and I can't believe I've never made it before. So we're gonna go ahead and make it together. But before I get started, let me remind you of our fun fan giveaway, a $50 Ellie and Mac gift certificate, and we do that once a month. And the only thing you have to do to be part of the giveaway is to make sure you subscribe to our channel. So if you haven't, pause the video, go below and subscribe, and that you comment in one of our videos. So if you subscribe and comment, and you will be entered for our giveaway. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started, and I already cut out my pattern. Again, I'm using the Ellie and Mac wrap skirt pattern, and yeah, so you have to remember that the front pieces are cut mirrored because they're gonna face each other when you put them onto the skirt, so you gotta remember that. And I'm doing the short version with the short ruffle. So, okay. So I've got my back piece. Here's my back skirt piece. I've got one on my side pieces. I'm gonna put it right on top, and we'll put it right sides together, and we're meeting up at the raw edges on the outside because we're gonna sew that together. And then all the way down. And we're gonna sew those two together, and we're gonna pin, because that's where we're going to sew that seam right there. Then we're gonna do the same for the other one. The other skirt. So, and we're gonna meet it up here. The one that goes in the front is going to meet on the other edge. See how it's right there overlapping a little bit on that edge? Okay, and then we're gonna grab the other one that goes on top. Hi friends, it's Deanna here, and today we are going to be sewing up the wrap skirt by Ellie and Mac. It is a very cute design, and I am so excited to be making it. I'm making the short version with the short ruffle. And I already printed out my pattern and got it all ready to go. Cut out my fabric, so we're gonna get started. But before I do, let me remind you of our fun fan giveaway, a $50 Ellie and Mac gift certificate. And all you have to do is make sure you're subscribed to our channel. So if you're not, pause it right now, go below and subscribe to our channel, and comment on one of our videos, and that's how you will be entered for our giveaway. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started on this pattern. Like I said, I already cut out my pattern, cut out my pieces. Now remember, this front panels of my skirt, they're cut on the mirrored. So because they're gonna both be facing down, and they're going to be attached right sides together to the back of the skirt. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the first one. And I'm going to match it up on the raw edge, right sides together, raw edge of the skirt on the side. Okay, and we're gonna pin. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. We're gonna match this raw edge of this other panel, right sides together. This is, I'm using double brush poly, so it kind of sticks to itself, so I have to kind of pat it, move it around. But I do like sewing with double brush poly because it does, like I said, kind of stick to itself, so like you don't need a bunch of pins. But if you're using, I'm going to be using my serger today, but if you're using your sewing machine, double brush poly can sometimes be a little bit difficult. So I always suggest when you're using double brush poly to put it in a little bit farther in your sewing machine, so that it's not right at the edge, because when it's right at the edge, the sewing machine tends to want to eat it. Also, knit needles, ballpoint needles, work really well. And also, yeah, let me see what else. If you are working with a really thin fabric, you can put something there for a stability, maybe some extra, like something on the side. Let's see what else. I think that's it. But anyway, if you're doing your sewing machine, you need to figure out what stretch stitch works best for the fabric you're using. So I would grab a scrap piece of fabric that I'm using, and then use different kinds of zigzag stitch or stretch stitch, lightning bolt stitch on my fabric and my sewing machine, and see which one gives you the best stretch. But right now I'm using my serger, and we're sewing those 2 side seams. And then we're going to sew the other side seam as well. Who are you sewing your skirt for? I am sewing this one for myself. I saw this, I like to go on Pinterest sometimes, and look for inspiration, things that I like. And I saw this skirt, and it was leopard print though. Where did I put my tomato? Did it fall? Yep, there it is. I gotta go get it. It was leopard print. I'm back. And but I didn't have enough leopard print to make the skirt, so I'm making it with this print, which is beautiful. Actually, this one came from Olga's Fabric. Look how pretty it is. But anyway, it kind of looks a little bit like the colors of the leopard print, you know, so I'm like, okay, maybe this will do. So I'm excited. I'm gonna go ahead and steam those seams, and I always steam them all going the same way. Because if you steam them going one way and the others going the other way, then it tends to give you like a wiggly line. See how it's going that way? But sometimes the serge edge will, like, it'll try to split, like go like this, like one goes this way, one goes that way. You want them all to go the same way. That gives you more of an even line. All right, so now my skirt portion is put together. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our ruffles, and depending on how many you cut, you might have 5, you might have 6. So you're gonna do is you're gonna grab each one, you're gonna place it face up, the raw edge, and we're gonna grab the next one. We'll place it right sides together at that raw edge and pin. And we're gonna sew that straight edge together. And you're gonna sew all of them together, except for, you're not gonna sew them together at a round. You're just gonna leave them a straight piece, just like this, just straight. So you're gonna sew every single one of them together, but then you're not gonna sew both of the front and end together. No, you're just gonna leave it one long piece, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're gonna gather that long piece, the width of our skirt bottom edge. So you see how this edge starts right here, and we're gonna go all the way around. See that bottom edge? All the way around that bottom edge. That is how wide you're going to gather these ruffles. So how I'm going to gather them, and you know what, you will, if you are using woven or whatever you're using and you want to go ahead and hem the ruffles, you can either do a, what do you call it, rolled hem. You can do a 1/2 inch hem if it's knit fabric. If it's woven fabric, you will do 1/4 inch in and then double again, 1/4 inch in again, and you go ahead and hem that. And I would probably hem before I gather. So if you want to go ahead and hem that first, I am using double brush poly, and it's a knit and it does not fray, and so I am not even going to hem it, especially because it's going to be gathered, so it won't even show very much. So I am not even going to hem this. So, but if you're going to hem it, I would go ahead and hem it right now. Like I said, you could either do 1/2 inch if it's a knit fabric, or 1/4, fold, and then hem if it's a woven. Or you can go ahead and do a rolled hem. Or you can also, what I do sometimes with woven is I will serge the edge first, and then I fold it, serge edge down, and top stitch. You can do that as well. So, but now I'm going to go ahead and gather my skirt. And the way I'm going to gather it is I'm going to gather it by serging it. But if you don't have a serger, you can gather it any method that you'd like to gather. Sometimes I do a long stitch on my sewing machine, just a long stitch, especially if you're using woven, this will work. A long stitch on your sewing machine and then pull it, gathering together. But since it's such a big gather, I'm going to use the serger method. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and serge the whole edge at the bottom, and then I'm going to show you how I gather after doing that. So I'm serging the whole edge all the way around, and then I'm going to show you how I gather once I get done serging the whole edge, okay? Alright, so I have serged the one side, the unhemmed side of my ruffle. So if you can see, it's all serged. Just one serged line. And I'm just going to show you how I ruffle by serging. Now you can ruffle any way you want to. This is just the way I'm doing it today because I find that easier to do. So first I found my middle of my skirt because I want to ruffle from one side and then from the other side and meet in the middle, because I feel like that gives me a more even ruffle. So I found the middle of my skirt. So this is the back of my skirt. And so I'm laying it out that way. I know for sure that I'm going to do half the ruffles from the edge of my skirt down to the middle, and then the same half coming this way, okay? Let me back up a little bit so you can see it better. So what I'm going to do now is I already went ahead and ruffled half of my ruffles. So I have 5 ruffles, 5 different ruffles. So I found, before I gathered, I found the middle of my ruffles. So the middle of my ruffles is gonna meet the middle of my skirt. So that's ready, all that side is ruffled already. So I'm going to show you how I ruffle by showing you on this other side that is not ruffled yet. So this is what I do. I grab a pin, I have my serged edge, and I'm going to find my needle thread, my left and right needle thread. So it's not the loopers, so it's not the ones that intertwine together. It's just the thread, the left needle and the right needle thread, they just go straight. So it's easy to find because you're gonna find it on the one side. You're gonna see the needle thread, it just goes straight. The loopers kind of loop around, and the needle straight is just a straight strand. So you're gonna see those 2 straight strands right next to each other. I don't know if you can see them very well right there. Hold on, let me pull them out so you can kind of see. It's really easy to pull them out because they're the straight ones. You're just pulling them right out. So I'm pulling them out at the end. You see that? They're just standing straight up. You see them right there? And honestly, you can do both if you want at the same time, or one at a time. You can do one at a time, or you can do both at the same time. And all you're doing is you're pulling on those straight the left needle and right needle thread. Yeah, I couldn't think of the words. I have to look at my serger because it tells me right there. And the loopers are kind of just laying right there on the side. So you're not doing anything with the loopers. You're just pulling on the serged edge. I mean the needles, just the needles. So the needle thread. So we're just sliding it over. Why is this easier or better than doing just a straight stitch? to me, it gives me more of an evened out gather. So I'm just gonna keep pulling on it, and this is gonna get pretty long because I'm gathering a lot. So it kind of gives it more stability, so I'm not as afraid that it's gonna break. And honestly, if one of them breaks, you can continue with the other one. So that was a help too, because one of them broke on me earlier, and I'm like, and I just kept going with the other one, and it's just fine. So you want to do it nicely. You're just pulling those gathers around, and you're gonna gather all the way until you get to that middle section that you gather from. So what I did is I'm gathering from this end towards the middle, and then I also gather from the other end towards the middle. So I already gathered that end. So all I have to do is gather all the way to where I placed my pin, right here, my half, because I already gathered the other half. See, look how good the gathers with the serger came out. Let me turn it around so you can see it. See? Kind of gives you like a very even gather. So I'm going to keep going with my gathers. I'm just pulling this over, like literally that's all I'm doing. I'm just kind of nicely pulling the gathers over in as I gather them. And then I get over here to the front, and I'm just pulling on those threads, pulling the threads out and pulling the skirt in. And then once I'm done gathering that, I'm going to tie the end so that they don't come undone. So I'm just gonna keep going all the way, pulling them to the middle because I found my middle. And then once I'm done gathering, we'll come back and I'll show you how we're gonna attach it to the skirt. So let me just keep going. You go ahead and gather. And if you have any other techniques that you gather with, some other different gathering methods, just let us know. Comment below. Let me know what techniques you use that are easier than any of the things I mentioned. If you have a gathering foot and that's what you use, you know, I've never tried a gathering foot. Let me know if that's easier than all of this. I might have to look it up and do it. But I'm always like so scared. I don't know if you're like me. Like I'm always so scared to learn new things. I feel like, oh my word, I'm not gonna be able to do that. That's so hard. And then once I do it, I'm like, well, my life is a lot easier now because of that. You know, I should have just learned it to begin with. And I don't know if you do that the same thing that I do. Let me know what you do. Are you one of those that is scared to learn something new, or are you like up for it? You know, and sometimes I'm up for it. Like I really, like with sewing, it was just one of those things that I'm like, I love it. I'm gonna do it. Let's go. You know, but then there's like little techniques that I'm like, oh, I don't know. I already know how to do this and it works out fine. Do I really want to mess with a good thing? You know, like I get so nervous. And there's no reason to be intimidated, but I'm just like, ugh. Anyway, it's like I'll preach to the choir when I come over here and tell you all like what I do or how you should do it and how it's not intimidating, how it's so easy, how anyone can do it. And then there's things that I'm like terribly afraid of. So, you know, I think we all have our things that we're like, I don't know if I can do that. But anyway, so I'm going to continue. And then we'll move on to attaching it. All right, so now that I've gathered all my ruffle, it's all gathered. And I think it's pretty even. You want to make sure that it's even. And so I tied off the end so it doesn't come undone here at the end and it starts to unravel and not be even anymore once I'm going to go sew it. So I'm going to find... The first thing I want to do is I'm going to put it right sides together. So I'm going to turn it. Come on. This is all my extra thread. I'm just going to cut it over here because there's no point of me having all that extra thread. I'm going to turn it. And here is my half point right here. I'm putting the raw edge of my skirt, the bottom edge of my skirt, and that gathered edge right sides together. I'm meeting them together. So here it is. My middle. So here's my middle, and it's gonna change for the different sizes because you have some sizes have more ruffles and some have less ruffles. So you want to make sure that you have, if you find your middle, depending on how many ruffles you have or whatnot. And same with the skirt. I found my middle, and then now I'm going to put it. I'm pinning the skirt to the raw edge of the raw edges together. Not the hem draw edge, but the gathered raw edge. So I'm meeting them together. I'm going to first to one side. So I'm going to move it all the way around so you can see it. Here comes my skirt all the way out. And I'm pinning it. Here's my seam right here where they meet. And then here's my side of my skirt. How it goes like up, like in a tulip, like, you know, shape right here. And so we're going to put all these ruffles all the way around. We're going to keep going all the way in. Make sure that your skirt is not bunched up. You want to make sure that it's nice and even. And if you want to, like once you put them on top of your skirt and then you decide, hey, I need to pull them tighter somewhere or make them looser somewhere, you can do that. So we're just doing right sides together, right on top of that skirt. Okay. Almost there. I'm making sure my ruffles are kind of, you know, even, spaced out evenly. You want to make sure that they're all spaced out evenly. So I am just meeting those raw edges right here. They're really tight, so it's really nice because actually it's easier to me, I think, when they're so tight to keep them even than when they're loose. Because when they're loose, it's like you have more room to wiggle and you don't know for sure if they're even or not. So I'm just, it's kind of nice. So I'm pinning up here at the top, still going. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. So I'm just pinning that raw edge, those raw edges together, right sides together of the ruffles. So the right side of where you gathered with the right side of the bottom of the skirt. The bottom of the skirt. Okay, and I'm going to continue. So I pinned the one side. See, I pinned this one side. I'm going to move on to this side over here. Let me go ahead and finish pinning really nicely. You can see like this part right here is coming undone because I didn't pin very close together. So just make sure that you, if you want to use as many pins as you need or clips to pin it together. And sometimes, honestly, I'll have the fabric kind of hang out a little bit at the top just so I can make sure that it's all pinned together. See, like right here, there's a little bit of a gap that it's gonna might come undone. So you want to make sure that they're pinned nicely. So okay, I'm gonna keep going to the other side, keep pinning, and then we'll come back and attach it and move on. All right, so now that they're all pinned to the skirt, look at that, pinned all the way around, we're going to sew them on, starting from one end to the other, and we're just sewing all that raw edge on. Now remember, when you pin them on, just make sure, you have to make sure that they're all facing the right way and that you don't have any twists in the seams. Like, you don't want your ruffles to be all twisted. So now we're gonna go ahead and start sewing, and we're attaching them together where you pinned. And you wanna make sure, you wanna be careful that you're sewing them all the way on. I'm serging. If you're doing zigzag stitch, that's fine. But you wanna make sure the raw edges are matching up together and that you're catching both of them in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and serge. And I'm doing slowly. I always like to go slowly when I do my ruffles because I don't want to catch one in. And I want to make sure that my skirt is out from underneath and my ruffles are not all bunched up. So I want to do it kind of slowly and make sure that they all kind of look good and even as they're going into the machine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep going, and then we'll come back to do our waistband and we'll be done. Ooh, ooh, can't wait. All right, my ruffles are on, so now I'm just steaming them down. So you can go all the way around and steam those ruffles so they lay nice and flat. But they're all done. So we're almost done. See how they're like laying up and down? You want to make sure that they lay nice and flat so that they're not getting all wobbly when so that they look nice and straight. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our waistband. We've got the long waistband A, and we've got the back waistband. So here's my back, and we're gonna grab our back, and we're gonna grab our back, and we're gonna grab our A band, and we're gonna put it on the right sides together. Okay, and we're gonna pin that right there because that's where we're going to sew. Okay, and then we're gonna grab our B and put it right on top. So we're doing the waistbands. Now the long tie, it's already part of your A band, A strap, but then the short tie, we're gonna do that later. So let's sew this sides up first. Okay, and the other side, to make it one long straight line thingy. One long strap, one long waistband. Okay, so here it is. Now it's one long waistband. Now we're gonna grab it first and we're gonna fold it wrong sides together and steam it down the middle first, halfway. So we're gonna fold the wrong sides together, raw edges matching, and we're leaving that so we can give it that crease. We're doing that memory crease right here at the middle of the band. We're gonna do it to the whole thing. To the whole thing. The hardest thing about making this skirt really is just that you're working with long pieces of fabric. So there's like a long piece of gathering, a long piece of waistband, but it really isn't that hard. Especially if you have like an area that you can work it on. I'm just doing it on this is my ironing board. So if I can do it on my ironing board, you can do it on your ironing board. We can do it on our table. I know some of us use our table for ironing, and I've done that before. It's probably not a good thing. Just as long as you put like a towel or something down, it'll be fine, right? Anyway, so now that I'm folded down the middle, I'm gonna grab it and I'm gonna open it, and I'm gonna fold each side 3/8 of an inch. Okay, and you can measure. I am not one to measure. Why? I don't know. Okay, and we're going all the way down. And we're going to do it on the other side as well. 3/8 of an inch on the top and on the bottom of the band. Okay, and we're going all the way down the band, 3/8 of an inch up and 3 inches in at the bottom, and then at the ends, again, 3/8 of an inch, folding it in. Okay, so we're going all the way down the band. Almost there. The ending of the steaming. Okay, so now that we steamed up, we're going to attach our band to our skirt. And the way we're going to do it is, we're going to grab our skirt, we're going to open it up, okay? And, you know, the longer side, we're going to find out which one's the longer side. Okay, this is the longer side. So the longer side of the skirt side, of the skirt front side, the longer side is the B, which is the shorter side of the band. So see how long this long one to the seam, that's A. So the short one to the seam, that's B. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold, we're going to match that seam right there of front A, which is the short one, to the band B, and see where we folded right here, this 3/8 of an inch, we're gonna place that right on top of the skirt. Okay, right at the edge of the skirt, all the way to the end. Make sure that that front is folded as well. We're going all the way to the front. And we're pinning at the raw edge. So that 3/8, pinning it right at the edge. And I'm gonna show you in a minute once I pin it. I'll lift it up and show you how that looks from the other side. I'm just pinning that raw edge, the folded edge, to my waistband. You see how it's pinned on there, on that one side. So we're gonna go all the way around, and then we're gonna grab it and turn it. See how I made that middle fold? We're gonna fold that middle fold in on itself, and then baste the top of the band right on top. So again, that 3/8 is right on top. Okay, so let me show you real closely. So I folded it, so you can see it in there, and I pasted it to the back of the skirt. Then I'm going to, as it's already pinned on there, I'm going to fold the band halfway, and on the front side, only the 3/8 fold goes right on top of that other 3/8 fold right there. Okay, and the fold is up here, so it's not all the way down. It's just the 3/8 is what's attached to the top of the skirt, and we're gonna pin it all the way down. Hope that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and keep pinning all the way down the edge of my skirt, just the 3/8, and then I'm gonna encase it and the other 3/8 as well. So you can do, if you want to do just the back first, the 3/8 of the back first, pin that down, and then turn it around and do the 3/8. Or if you want to do it all at the same time, you can fold it in half and fold your 3/8 up on both sides, the back and the front. And then you can place, so it's folded down. You can see the 3/8 is folded down. I'm gonna grab my skirt. I'm gonna place the back on top of that 3/8. The back on top of that 3/8 evenly. And then I'm gonna fold that band right on top of it so the 3/8 is touching it. And then I would pin both sides. Okay? So let me see if I can bring you a little bit closer so I show you what I did. Ooh, don't get dizzy. Okay, so this is what I did. I grabbed my, sorry, I'm trying to bring you up closer. I have my 3/8 right here of my band, and it's folded in just like that, okay? This is my band right here. This is my skirt, top of my skirt. I'm gonna place the top of my skirt right on top of that 3/8 right there. Come on, skirt. Right on top of it, like so, all the way. I had already pinned right here, so I'm gonna open it up so you can see. 3/8 right there. That seam, match up the seams. So I'm putting it right on top of the 3/8. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now that it's on top of the 3/8, I'm gonna grab my waistband. See how the 3/8 is already up here as well? And here's my middle crease. I'm gonna fold up my middle crease and put that 3/8 line right on top of what I already made the 3/8 line and pin both of them together. So now I've got both of them pinned. I have that skirt sandwiched between the front and the back, and I'm pinning it. And I find that a little bit easier than doing the front first and then the back. I'm just doing both of them at the same time. And now they are pinned at the same time. So you can't really see my pins right there a little bit and right here a little bit, see? And we're gonna keep going all the way. Make sure you match those seams right here of the waistbands, okay? So that's been on this side, and I'm gonna keep going all the way down, and then we'll top stitch that on. So I finished all the way, and now we get to the part where the ruffles are, right here. And we are not sandwiching those ruffles into the band. We're going to keep going the band straight, so we're gonna sandwich that raw edge right there at the end where the ruffles end into the band, but then we're just gonna keep the band going by itself. Where that long band is, it just keeps going by itself. So your ruffles are not sandwiched in the band. So we'll just keep going along the side, put those 3/8 right on top of each other. Nothing sandwiched in between because there's no need. And we just keep going all the way down. So I just wanted to show you that, and I'm gonna keep going. So now that my band is all attached onto my skirt, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to top stitch that band on. If you're using woven fabric, a straight stitch on your sewing machine will do it just fine. If you're doing a knit fabric, you will either need a stretch stitch, usually, because if you do a straight stitch, they can pop when you pull at it to put it on. So you want to make sure that you do either a double needle, you can do a zigzag stitch. I'm going to be doing my cover stitch. So what we'll do is we'll start at the top and we'll go all the way along that seam, attaching, top stitching those two things that we sandwiched. I mean the top and the bottom and the top of the skirt that we sandwiched together. And then we can top stitch also the top of the band. So we'll go all the way around, kind of like creating a rectangle on the band, all the way down and all the way down this last, and coming all the way in here, turning, going all the way around. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna do it on my cover stitch, and we'll come back and finish up our skirt. All right, so now that everything is top stitched and ready, the skirt is almost done. All we need to do is our button and our small other strap. So what we're gonna do to find where we're gonna put our button, we can use the measurements on the pattern. If you don't, it's not for yourself or whatever, but if it's for yourself, you can just wrap it around. And the short side that doesn't have the strap yet, that's gonna be on the inside. And here comes the front. This is the outside. This is my strap, okay? And right here is where I'm gonna latch on my other strap in a minute. But first, I'm going to see where I wanna place that buttonhole. Here's my top part, my inside part. So I wanna place my button right there. So I'll be sewing my button to the inside. So you're sewing it to that inside part that comes in, the button. And then to the top, the part that comes over it, that's where you're gonna sew the buttonhole over here on this side, on the outside. That way it's gonna button just like so. Does that make sense? It's just gonna button. I'm sorry, it's the opposite. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Then you'd see the buttonhole. You don't wanna see the buttonhole on the outside. So the button goes to the band that's coming around, right here. And the buttonhole will be right over there on the inside. So you want to measure it with, see, because like this is knit, I can tie it if I want to tie it tighter or whatever. Then you want to make sure that you mark where your buttonhole is going to go. So you will mark your buttonhole, and then you would do your buttonhole on the inside right here, and you would sew your button on the inside of the front part, okay? And then you button it like that, and then you come around, and that's where you would wrap it. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is, so I'm I will go ahead and work on that button. But now we're gonna go ahead and finish up with our other strap, which I had right here in front of me. I don't know where I put it. You know, I have no idea where I put it. Where did I put it? Did you take it? In my skirt. Wondering if it was inside my skirt, but it's not. Where is it? I literally just had it. And I have scraps of fabric here. This is not it. Wow, this looks like a cool bandana. But that's not it. This is not it. This is super long. Alright. Hold. I'll be back. I was in the process of cutting another one. And then I looked down and it was cut underneath my chair. How did it get there? Do you have like people in your room that just come in and when you're not looking and like move things around? I don't know. It was, I don't know. Anyway, so now we're gonna do the same thing that we did to the other one, the other strap. We're gonna fold it halfway, wrong sides together first, and we're going to give it that memory crease, and then we're gonna do the 3/8 again like we did with the other one, all the way at the top, at the bottom, and then on the two ends. So there's the top crease, 3/8 at the bottom. Am I steaming the cord? That is not good. Don't want to steam the cord. Okay, I'm going all the way down. I'm excited. Are you excited? This is cool skirt. And then we're gonna fold in 3/8 at the end. One end and then the other end. That one's not wanting to stay down, so I'm gonna give it another good steam. You know, this is when working with woven kind of comes in handy because woven listens to you once you steam it. Usually it like lays flat. Knit, sometimes it's like, I ain't listening. Okay, so then we're gonna fold it over each other, back to that crease. And we're not going to attach it yet. We're gonna put it together first and top stitch all the way around. And then we're gonna attach it. So we're gonna top stitch first. So I'm putting it right on top of each other. All those raw edges, all those folded edges. And we're gonna go around it and top stitch it. Those edges. So I'm just spinning that I keep saying raw. Well, I mean, it's not really a raw edge because it's where I already folded. So they're just meeting together where I folded that side. And we're gonna top stitch. Again, if you're using a woven, then you'll just have to do a regular straight stitch on your sewing machine to top stitch. But if you're using a knit, you have to do a straight stitch because when you pull a knit, it stretches. So if you don't do a stretch stitch, it will pop the stitch. I'm using my serger. I said I'm using my serger, but I meant my cover stitch. So I'm top stitching all the way around. Come on. Okay. So once we top stitch all the way around, I'm going to trim those little pieces. This is the most annoying part of sewing, is trimming all this stuff, and then sometimes I'm not very good at trimming and my stuff has hair all over them. Okay, So it's all sewn together, top stitched together. So we're gonna grab our skirt and we're gonna fold it closed. Okay, and if you already did your button, you can button it up right there, fold it close, and bring this one over. And where the long strap is, and where it would be easier to tie, which to me is pretty much right at that seam, you're going to top stitch that, sew that band onto that spot right there. So, and then that way you can tie it together when you close it up. So really, if you want to try it on and see where the easiest spot would be for you to put it on, you can do that. And then you're gonna top stitch or sew that band on right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that on, and then our skirt will be done. I'm sewing it on right here. That's where I already looked at it. I tried it on earlier, and that's where it was good for me to tie it to. So I'm excited because we are done. And where are my scissors? Here they are. My skirt is done. I just need to put that button on, and we're done. Look at this skirt. Button and tie. How cute is this? I'll have to take a picture and show it to you so you can really see it without all the stuff underneath it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if you have any questions of anything that I did. I can't wait to see what you're making. Please post it on our Facebook or Instagram page. We'd love to see it. If you're not part of our Facebook or Instagram page, you can actually, right below, there's all of information, our links. We'd love to have you come and visit us. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!